The idea here is we're not building in an empty folder and say build something and it works, so we copy it. We will take a huge repository, 500,000 lines of code, and we will build a new feature into it. And you will see that building will be the smaller part. We will look at guardrails and how it works and stuff. And what we're going to do, you guys use or tried Calendly before? Perfect. There's an open source version of it called cal.com. I don't know if you tried it. Maybe you should. Maybe it's interesting. But it works the same way. So the idea behind cal.com is that you connect it to your calendar, and then you can say I'm available at this times. And if it's actually available in your calendar, people can book sessions to meet you, to talk to you. It makes it easy for people to just meet up. Cal.com is an open source version. We assume that our virtual imaginary company uses this, but we need a new feature in that. You will build it in a second. But what we're going to do is, and you see it over here, we'll focus on understanding what we're doing first, that all the policies are in place. We look at where they actually physically are, so you can adjust that overnight and do it for yourself if you're interested. Then we execute, and then we make sure it's actually online and we can try it out together. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. This will be your laptop. I'm going to go through a couple of things with you first, because that's maybe the, let me see, is this, should I make it a little bigger maybe? You will let me know if you cannot see it, and we will adjust. So since we're at Microsoft and this is an Apple device, I will take a second to explain what you see on the screen. No offense, just making sure we're all on the same page, literally. On the right side, we have a terminal. It's empty for now, but it's already opened inside of our folder that we're going to use. And on the left side, this is just my Explorer, my Finder. We have all my files. So we can work with files on the right side, and we also see them on the left side. Just to make clear what we see here. Makes sense? Perfect. We have a folder here, and I'm going to show you. And this is our entire cal.com project. You might say initially, why don't we just download it now? It's 2 gigabytes. It's huge. And I wasn't sure how good the Microsoft Wi-Fi is at 7 p.m. So I pre-downloaded it. This is the only part of the stage trick here to make sure it actually runs. But this is inside of the project. This is what we're going to work. This is where we, on the right side in the terminal, where we run Cloud Code. But we also have files that are interesting here that are outside of the project. First one, you see that on Mac it's on the bottom. You see that the pathway is on my username, and then there's a Cloud Code folder, and we have a managed settings JSON. So this is irrelevant of the project. It fires for anything on this device wherever I try to run an agent. And I show you a preview of this. Oh God. I can make it smaller, guys. Wait. I'm kidding. Let's see. So here you see it. It has a couple of deny and ask, and I could even say I have allow cases, but this is basically the RF. Some of you know, so some people troll with it. But if you would have a project and there would be an instruction that tells the agent delete the entire folder or delete the entire computer, or all files on it, it would be physically impossible because of this managed settings JSON. The enterprise can update it at all times, so you can enforce it globally in your environment. And I think that's just something I wanted to show you. It's interesting to see. We will see in a second where to actually see that inside of our project. I also have skills. I assume you all heard about it, just to make sure we all have the same idea what a skill is. It's literally just a prompt that I generalized a little bit, and then I can just reference to it all the time. So for example, I don't always want to have code written. So I created an ask mode, ask skill here, that just says, whenever I fire this skill and I ask a question, you just return an answer, short 2 sentences, and you don't write any code at all. That could be a skill. We also ship code. So in a second, we have a shipping skill that just automatically checks with some sub-agents if all the code is fine, malicious, if all the ports work, if the Docker image works, all the things that I don't want to do every time I'm working on, I kind of hand it out here. And then on my project, this is my folder, but what makes it very interesting is it has hidden files. So I'm sorry I got you here already, but we'll be ready in a second. We have hidden files that are grayed out here. And if we go and we see, we have a Git folder, we have a cursor folder. For the sake of this demo, we will look into the Claude folder. And here, hope you can see that we can also go into this view. We have rules, which is an extension of the Claude MD file. We have a settings JSON again that is more specific to this project. And what it does is it has a hook. It fires every time a tool is used. So a pre-tool use hook is registered, and you find them in hooks. So this is a file. It's pretty simple, but it just filters for malicious commands. And every time it fires and it finds one, it logs it in the audit. And every time it doesn't, just gives an exit code 0 and it passes. So we can ship those things project or enterprise-wide. And we have skills. We have a shipping skill here. But I think that's enough. I don't want to bore you with more details. What I would love you to do now is, and I'm showing you something, in this project, we already have a Claude MD because this project came with one, which is exciting. So we have a Claude MD that's very detailed. I'm going to delete it. And we just start from the beginning. On the right side, is this comfortable for you?
Yes.
I want you to start Claude code now. So you just type Claude, that's it. And you hit enter. Perfect. Yeah,
Embarrassing.
that's perfect. We got it. So that's my live demo. Thank you. No, okay, guys.
We did. Well done.
Okay, you can see that, I guess. It should be big enough. Let's make sure that this is all on screen. So now you're inside of Claude Code and you write commands and it does stuff, but you don't even know what's going on. You just have this huge project, you get assigned to it. I hired you for the 15 minutes now and you have to ship a new feature. So what you do instead of reading the code yourself, you type /, this is just the general skills feature, and then you say init, E-I-N-I-T. Yeah, no, sorry, I said it wrong. I-N-I-T, perfect, wonderful. And what it does now is goes through this entire project and you say, yes, you're fine with that. You go on yes. And it's running a couple of scripts and it's understanding what works and how it works. And it's writing this README file in a way that the agents can work with it. Since it's a huge project, we will see how fast it goes, but that's basically the first idea we have here. And it's going through all the possible ways of installing this project. It's running inside of Docker, and it's gonna build, hopefully in a couple of seconds, a Claude MD file for us. What we're gonna do afterwards is, we already saw there's a lot of policies enforced. We cannot do certain stuff. One thing, and that's very interesting about Inkbox, you usually for a project have secret tokens, passwords, database access. You don't want to send that into your agentic network or possibly outside. So it's perfect if you have something like Inkbox, it has its own vault. You make sure it's all secure or differentiated. Yes, please.
So is the building the Claude.md always part of /init?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually a skill that's shipped with Claude Code. So you don't have to build this one. If you would use cursor or something, they have a different initialization, but same
Quick
concept.
follow-up. I switched from cursor to Claude Code in the past couple of months.
Yeah.
I had read that like the / commands were being replaced by skills. I still haven't figured that out in my mind.
In the end, every / command is a skill. I'm not trying to generalize, maybe not all of them, but most of them are. So yeah, this is basically a skill right now running.
So it's still like the / is basically like a hotkey to trigger that skill?
Yeah, exactly. And you could have a general, it's done?
Yep.
Perfect. So you see now on this left side, we have a new Claude MD file that basically documented the fundamentals of this project. So we still don't know really how it works, but our agent knows, so we feel trustworthy enough to say, let's go and work with it. To your point of skills, I'm showing you another / command that's not a skill. If you say /status, you see a couple of interesting things that we should validate before we start building. So we have a couple of things that are just interesting in general. Maybe we know the version, we know the model we are currently using. I'm using Sonnet right now. We should switch in a moment because the most capable model is Opus, but also uses a lot of tokens. I usually like to switch, and I think this is best practice. I'm thinking even Boris, the inventor of Claude Code or the builder behind it, gave the advice of using Opus for plan mode, and then for execution, which is a simple coding based on a script. You can use Sonnet, and it's more than capable for it. But what's very interesting for us is MCP servers, which might be in general interesting if we say we don't want to build new dashboards, we want to connect to the tools we already have. You would connect them here. And then for the setting sources, you see there's a shared project settings. This is the settings JSON inside of the project. And it says we have an enterprise managed setting. It's a file. It's also registered here. And coming back to my point of environments and variables, we have an environment file usually inside of our projects. And if we run that through our entire project, everything is exposed, all our database passwords and stuff. So what I already did for us is I say in the policies, you cannot write and read that file. You can reference to it, but you cannot read it. So we should try that in a second just to see how those things work. Yes, you go escape, perfect. So maybe say, tell me what's inside of the .env file. And what's a little tricky here is Claude already refuses to do it naturally, but only for a couple of times, and you argue against it, and maybe it says, yeah, I'm happy to do it, and maybe it says, I don't want to do it. But in this case, I harassed it so much already, it just says here, Claude Code's permission settings are blocked, access to the env file. This is expected behavior to protect secrets. That's exactly the guardrails. It's physically impossible for the agent to access that file. This is something we want, it's good. It could be every other file, whatever we want to do here. It's just maybe a good example that I can give in a couple of seconds. But let's build. My idea is, and you all more or less know Calendly. You have Calendly, you choose a date, you say, I want to meet with Michael or whoever, and then I get a calendar invite. But to build something on top of it, why don't we build a hook that sends me a Telegram message every time someone books or cancels an event? Okay, so what we do now is we switch to the planning mode. There's two ways to do it. The most straightforward way is you do a slash, and then you say plan, perfect. So now you're in the planning mode. Actually, let me go back. Do slash model. Yes, that's it, and click enter. Yeah, and now you switch to Opus. Wonderful, yes, you want to do that because we need a capable model. Now you do slash plan, and you say, I want to extend, I'm just saying something here. If you think
sure,
there's a
yes.
way to say it, you just push back. I want to extend this project with a Telegram integration. Perfect. So every time someone books,
sorry.
That's all good. You click escape, get back to it. Perfect. You have to, I think it's Alt and the
Oops, thank you.
This one.
Apologies.
That's all good.
Not an Apple user.
The audacity to come
Yes.
enough to do this.
Say again, the feature you wanted?
So we say feature role Telegram integration. We say every time someone books an event or cancels it, I want to get a notification through Telegram, something like this. The idea of agents is that you write it in your own language, right? I'm just prompting it a little bit.
Sorry, I just entered again.
That's all good. That's all good. The last thing I would like to do here, just for the sake of this demo, is I want to do minimal code modifications. It can maybe find a way that's perfect, but it refactors the entire project, and you guys want to get home. I have a parking ticket outside. So we want to make sure that this goes fast and it works great. I think this looks great. Click enter. It will probably ask us a couple of questions. You probably tried plan mode before. If not, this might be interesting. Otherwise, you know what's happening. But what's interesting is that we see through this entire process that it pushes back on our policies and it says, I cannot do this, I cannot access this file, I can reference to it, I cannot modify certain elements. And it says no plan written yet. Let's see if it. Okay, let's copy this. Maybe we sent too many plans here in the last seconds. Maybe it doesn't trust us that we still mean it. Let's just go over here and restart, just to be sure. Looks good. So now we write a plan. The plan basically is also in plain language, just describing every step. It defines outcomes, it defines tests. It's everything that you would usually do as a system designer to make sure that this actually works. And it's reading files right now to understand where it should implement a feature. It tries to be minimal in its modifications. And we let it work for a second. If you have any questions, you should just prompt me. Yes.
In your demo, like experiences in demoing, is there a difference between medium and high effort?
It really depends. To be honest, you just say yes on a couple of things that happen here. It might depend on what you want to do. For this feature, because it's fairly minimal, you just want to implement a webhook at a certain point in the project. Medium is fully fine. High is perfect for especially like creative work. But if you have maybe a refactor or more context, that would be a good idea to do the higher effort. But it also wastes a lot of tokens. So you need to be a little mindful, strategic maybe, depending on plans. Does it make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Have you had a failure during a demo, and if not, what's the weirdest behavior you've seen during a demo?
Say again, please.
Sorry, have you had a failure during a demo, and if not, what's the weirdest behavior that you've seen an agent do on this?
Let me see for 1 second what we have to do here. It's written up a plan and is ready to execute. We don't want to execute right now. I'm telling you why. We go out of it and you say, I want to switch to Sonnet first. And then coming back to your question. Yeah, perfect. And now it should automatically do it. And we see the whole plan up here. This is the entire idea of where to do what, how to go into the Telegram API and then implement that. I, of course, prepared a bot for us that we can live connect. To your question, what's the weirdest thing I've ever seen? I tell you a slightly different story, but it pays into this. And that's what inspired me to talk about enterprise shipment. I live coded with agents a small AI app for Harvard Business School with all the students in the room. And it was a cool effect. And we said like, hey, we can build this in 20 minutes. The plan took 4 hours, but executing it is fast. Everyone was very excited. We built it, it worked. And then he said, next week you get a link because we had to ship it within HBS guardrails, of course, in their premise. We couldn't just use all the student data and ship outside. And I think we are still not online because no one expected this. This was 4.5 months ago. Building it is fast. Getting it through policies of institutions is so difficult, and you should prepare for it. So anybody who says, and it's a huge assumption, oh, it takes me an afternoon to build this demo. So maybe building a better version takes me 2 weeks. So I will go online in 4 weeks. It's usually not the case. You still need 6 months to ship. What's fast is the execution and trial and error, but that's a huge thing. I do a lot of live demos. Definitely the weirdest thing from the top of my head is whenever you tried it a couple of times at home and then you prompt it here and the agent decides to behave differently. You're like, why? We practiced this, don't be nervous, just do exactly what I wanted to do. I think I got lucky so far, don't want to jinx it. I like to do live demos though, because you show something real, you show how it can fail, and usually, and that I'm a huge promoter of that, if something fails, the learning curve is more about how you get back from that and how you debug. Usually the live demos where everything went through well have this stage trick to it. People say, okay, I worked for you on stage now, perfect. Doesn't work for me at home. So actually the best feature I ever demoed online or on stage was the debug mode. Of just saying, we go in iterations, how do we think about a problem? How do we figure out what the problem is if we have not written 500,000 lines of code? So that's something that, let's see if it happens today. We will introduce you to debug mode, but maybe it just works. Yeah. Any other questions right now? Anything you're wondering? Yes, please.
So for the previous file that you shared, the managed settings that you sent,
Yeah.
is it not plot code folder? Is
Exactly.
it the file? Is it the file that you?
Yeah, I show you. It's here on the left side. Are we working here already? Oh, okay. Now what we do now is we go into the accept all edits. We don't care today because we have all the policies. Now you would just say execute plan. Perfect. So on the right side right now, you see my project folder. The managed settings JSON is not inside of this project. It's inside an application support folder, at least on Mac. It's a different position on Windows, but yes, it is a file. It's this file.
Does it come with, for example, your installation of Cloud Code? Or how do you actually create this?
That's a good question if it comes naturally, but what you could do is you could tell Claude to write it for you. You probably have to manually put it into the location because it's protected for agents, obviously. But I think it comes as an empty file. Like there's a allow and deny in there to just know the structure. If you cannot find it, then let me know. I will show you where to place it.
There's a case in the headline in X recently where someone using Cloud Code like erased a whole big, like the whole company basically. So they should have used something like this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's huge. That's huge. I saw also a lot of, I mean, you probably saw the, she was also C-level management at Facebook, I think, or at Meta, and she used OpenClaw and first ordered all of her emails and sorted them, and then started deleting all of them. And she could physically, maybe she didn't know the right command, but she described it on X as well, I think, that she ran upstairs and she had to physically unplug the Mac Mini because it was deleting all of her management emails. It was terrible, apparently. But are we going here? You already done?
Appears to be so.
Amazing. So let's check that out in a second. The idea behind those settings JSONs and stuff definitely comes from inspiration from whatever people already experienced and to try to put guardrails to it. I agree on that. So the last thing we want to do now, because we built the whole thing, we implemented this feature. Let me actually see what it says here. To enable notifications, set these two environment variables. I prepared this for you, so it's a little easier. But all it takes in the end is, I have this Telegram things, because we don't want the agent in this case to write to the environment file. Just to make my point here, of you don't want it to see everything. The two environment variables that we want to add here, the Telegram bot token and the admin chat, we add this to our environment file. It's this one. So you just paste it anywhere in there. I already copied it for you. It really doesn't matter. You can put it on the top or perfect. And you can click save. Wonderful. Yeah, should work. Perfect. So that's all we want to do here. Now it's added to it. It looks like everything worked. To be sure, we just type /ship. And it should now run a couple of tests. This is the part of the live demo that could be very, difficult for me to explain, but I'm fairly confident that at least the tool runs. And you're seeing now it starts a Docker container. It runs a couple of security scripts. For the sake of this demo, it's fairly loose at checking them, because if I run this in detail, it takes maybe 10 minutes. But if we are online in a second, it gives us a local host, and then we're able to try it out and see if it works. And the natural flow that we want to have here is I go there, I book a date, and then when it's booked, we get a Telegram notification. So
you want me to?
Please do. Please do. Wonderful. So this is online. No, that looks great. I would like you to click over here because this is the live booking. Yep. Perfect. So this is what you know from Calendly, from all of those environments. Pick and choose a date, whatever you see there. If you like, put a different name or doesn't matter. It's a local host right now. Because in enterprises, you usually don't just push and publish. You test first. Something else that a lot of the founders I work with usually are not used to, because you use Lovable, you click on done, and it's all online immediately. And that's usually the harder learning curve. That part worked. Now you find my Telegram application here too. So let's see if that worked as well. And you see here today, let's see if it's the right time, 7:59. So I'm not lying about this. This is actually live. You see there's a new booking. It says when and with who. It's with myself right now because you didn't adjust the name, but that would be the name of whoever books it. And this is what I tried to present here, the idea of shipping with, let me see how we get back to our screen. Here we go. Of shipping inside of enterprises with a more agentic engineering workflow. That's really all I wanted to say. I created a couple of slides. I know you have access to it because maybe there's something useful in it. If you're interested, and I really mean this, I also have a version that is online that we basically ship right now. It will text me on Telegram. So if you want, you can scan it. You can meet me for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. And I'm very happy to chat and discuss whatever you like to talk about or just exchange ideas. I'm very excited about that. And then, guys, don't just scan. I want to see all of you. I'm very excited to meet you. The last part, and I mean this, and you're basically done, but thank you so much for doing this with me. Guys, this was great. Thank you. I usually like to end my slides and my presentations with a takeaway. Because I talked a lot, I showed you a lot of screens, it was very confusing. I had the audacity to bring macOS today. So if there's something I want you to take away from this, it's this slide. This is everything we talked about in one slide, all the concepts. So if you memorize something, you want to come back to it, take this one in your camera roll, and this will be a first step to find everything we talked about on one side. You also find my LinkedIn here at the bottom. I'm very happy to connect with you. I'm actually excited about it. And that would be it from my side as well. And it's 8:01. Thank you so much.